Good morning, everyone, both in the room here in Kungsholmen and to all of you listening in online. Today I have, I don't know how many hands and heads I need to have in order to manage the slides, the digital audience, the physical audience, and those two guys. Let's see how it will go. My name is Charlotte Vatsilaros. I am representing FEM HR, a consultancy agency, and today doing this together with SD Worx and HRnytt. I would just like to check, before I introduce those two, is everything working online? Can I get a sign from the ones online? Some kind of hello. Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. You are with us. So let's start to my very right. Jan Laurijssen. Was that a good pronunciation?
Very nice, yes.
Who are you? Give us a short induction.
Yeah, my name is Jan Laurijssen. I'm Flemish, Belgian, working for SD Worx since about 14 years. I am the HR Evangelist for the company, which means I do the public speaking for the, on behalf of the company in all the countries where we are present, which is 26. Researcher at the University of Antwerp, and also sometimes a consultant. Something we didn't know much about you at all from start, but something personal that you would like to share. Just something. I'm actually quite disappointed with the weather this time in Stockholm. I'm a cold water swimmer, so if it would have been colder, I brought my trunks. Great. Usually in November it's sunshine and 20 degrees. Okay. So yes. I must have been mistaken.
Exactly. A warm welcome to you, Jan. And Magnus.
Okay, thank you. Magnus Eklöv. I work as Business Solution Manager at SD Worx. This means that I help customers finding the right solution for the problem when it comes to HR and payroll. So I work closely with the US customers and our tech people inside the company, trying to figure out what to do with your issues. And something personal, well, I'd recently discovered the Dart. Very advanced, but you have to be very precise, and so it's quite fun. Yeah.
And then the million-dollar question: is Dart really a sport?
Yeah, depends. Yeah. It's a bit in the gray zone, but yeah, it depends.
It's a bar sport.
Exactly, it's a bar sport, which is also going to the bar itself.
Yeah. It's very funny. I can recommend it. Yeah.
Thank you, and a warm welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
And just so that you know, that I will not be rude, but I have promised if they are too lengthy in their answers, I will cut them off. So that's planned beforehand. You don't have to think that I'm rude, just to have that said. We would like to start with a short Menti question, and here comes my first move. No. 1, 2, 3. We would like to ask you, so please get your phones up, and for those of you online, please get your phones. We will have 2 Menti questions today. This is the first one, and then we will have one in the end. So, is HR seen as a strategic partner or a service partner or provider, you may say? Quite balanced.
Mm-hmm.
You know, live streaming is always
fun.
Fun. That's the word I was looking for. And I also realized, Göran told me, there you are, the online audience. I thought you were here in my camera. But a warm welcome then to all of you online. Okay, so very, very balanced. If we look at what we think is a strategic partner versus a service partner, we will try to move back. Yeah, now it works. So these are typical tasks, you may say, that you take on as a service partner or a strategic partner. Maybe you had something different in mind when you answered, but these are typical things. So, Magnus, when you are out meeting customers, do you think HR is usually a service partner or a strategic partner? What's your view?
Yeah, the view, I'm a bit surprised about the numbers because my experience is that most of the people or companies I meet, they are more service partner oriented, which means that they work a lot like we see in this picture. And the whole idea with this slide is to show, okay, what are we actually working on as a strategic partner or a service partner in this case, if we start there, and all these tasks. And we don't have time to run through them all, but it means that we work a lot operational, like we have a support department for HR support, rather than working with strategic initiatives and joining projects in change projects to kind of help this organization change and so on. So the whole talk basically we will have today could be related back to this slide. So remember all of this if you can, and we can talk about it later. Because if you can move things and use new technology like AI, automation, RPA, all this stuff, and try to automate things on the left side, then you will get more time to work on things on the right side, which means more proactive work, more forward-looking work, and so on. So, short summary, Jan, maybe hand over to you.
Yeah, quickly. I think that the service partnering thing is something that we've known for a long time, from automation to digitization and now AI. I think it's in the interest of us all as HR professionals to move to strategic partner, because if we don't, just technology is going to take over the service part. It already has, and it will continue to do. And last point, you did hear Magnus say, remember this slide, there will be a test at the end of the session.
Yeah.
Good. We like tests. We will now look into the 6 shifts that the whole heading of this seminar is about. And before we move into the 6 shifts, why could you, Jan, and Magnus, who are you to talk about the 6 shifts? What's the sort of background behind this science, you may say?
Yes, so we have our own research, we have our own research institute, we have our own research partnerships. So we think it's really important to also bring this back to the community of HR professionals across Europe. Some of the things that we do, one of the big things that we do is a yearly pulse research report in the beginning of the year, 2025. You can have all the data because we also send them out. 16 countries. We survey about 16,000 employees and 5,600 HRDs and ask them questions about where HR is taking us, how employee experience, how important employee experience is, whether they are already investing in AI, just keeping really a pulse of what's going on in the field and how it's being experienced by professionals in HR, both and employees. So this gives us some ideas sometimes, or at least a conversation starter to talk about some of the shifts. The 6 shifts that we grasped together actually is more an idea of, if we look at what's going on in research, our own research, other research, academic research, what do we think is important to consider or to contemplate about for the upcoming years?
Great. Let's start with the first one. From standardized to personalized. What does that mean really in practice?
In practice, that does mean a lot. So we'll be talking about careers in particular, but in general, it means that where we were coming from, and some of us may remember that, we had a standardized employment contract, we had standardized working time, we had standardized places to work. More and more we see a trend that everything is moving towards a personalization of the employment relationship, and that as organizations we have to cater for the needs of those individual workers. And that means that every worker has his own needs, wants to work from home, does not work from home, chooses different benefits. And the only way that we can actually start cater for that or come to grips with that is to use technology to actually offer those services. Because let's face it, we talked about this before, demographics are against us. I mean, there are not enough children being born in Europe or in Sweden, and the population is growing older and older and older. So we're going to have to find new ways to cater for the needs of people across time, because also the needs of workers change over time. What is important when you start work, my oldest is 23, she started working in September. her needs as a professional are different from someone who's 35, started to build a home, has 2 kids and so on. So this is a very important thing. What we surveyed in this particular point is that we asked about careers. And also there we see that what people want to do throughout their careers, the working times and so on, changes. And we have to consider the fact that AI, that AI is a very important component in finding the nicest ways of people to move forward in their careers. We know from research that we do in Antwerp, with the Antwerp Management School, people don't change jobs because they don't know what to change to. The AI can help us to give you an idea about, hey look, you've been doing this for 3 years. There are some open vacancies within the company where you have a fit about 60-70%. Wouldn't it be something for you to change now? But if you look at what we surveyed, the organization equips me with AI tools to explore career opportunities. Both in Europe and in Sweden, we see that hardly 20% actually is investing or experiencing as an employee that the organization is investing in that. So that's a bit of a worry that are we on the right track there to make sure that we can actually keep track of the people, offer them new opportunities and invest in that sustainable career.
And as I like to be extremely pragmatic,
Yes.
what could an AI tool to explore a career be?
An AI tool could be a matching tool in your organization, like a recruitment tool that actually offers you individually on your phone. Will prompt
As an employee?
As an employee, will prompt you and say, hey, there is new opportunities in the organization. With your experience, age, and what you've been doing before, this might be a fit. Have you been thinking about this before? Please get in touch. It may also prompt a message to the manager, say, you got people in your team, their job is likely to be changed considerably by the use of AI. You should start talking about them, that they have to have learning opportunities and look for a new job because theirs going to be changing or is going to be obsolete. So those are pretty important things. That's actually what, in pragmatic terms, this is going to do. Just going to prompt you a message saying, or it could prompt you a message, shouldn't you be taking holidays? You still got some left.
I'm surprised, 14%, to me that's a lot. Have you, I can now ask both the online audience and you here, have you heard about those kinds of AI tools and have you used them in your organization? You have. Do you have them in your organization?
Yeah, so it's not like now. So back in 2020 when the AI was emerging actually, we were building a tool because lots of we were having the young population were leaving because that was like kind of a time when AI was rising. So then we figure out that what the issues and also we done the initial research that how to solve that problem. We have already had the skill pool within the organization and we map that skill pool with the different positions which we are having within the organization. So we map both the skill and IGPs together and then look out for that what are the talents which we are having and working on the successors. So if somebody leave who's having a crucial role altogether, instead of finding talent outside, approaching them inside the organization to move you already have the skills. You need little bit of nourishment to move to that position.
Yes.
That's how we started working.
And now I realize that I should summarize this to the online
Yes.
audience, which Jan will do instead.
No, what I understood is that from your story, that instead of trying to find new people when people leave, you try to look at the skill pool that was already there, the ones that you need, and try to find a new match. And like I said before, to make an offer that is both challenging for the employee and both beneficial for the organization to actually move forward on a new job or a new function or a new career trajectory. That's what I understood from that. It's actually to my point, yes. Thank you very much.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you for summarizing. We will move on to shift number 2. From fixed roles to fluid talent. The definition of that, Jan.
Yeah, I think that there again we're much closer to, well, we're close to the former point as well. Everybody remembers fixed positions, fixed functions. By the way, we need functions because they need to be in the employment contract. More and more people are taking different positions in an organization. So wherever you are in an organization, you might be working for boss A, but doing a project for someone else in B, and also taking another assignment because you're needed somewhere else. So the whole idea of fixed positions in the org chart, we're getting more and more rid of that. Of course, you need to be somewhere in the org chart. but this is where we're saying this is from fixed roles, you are doing this, these are your tasks, we're moving to a role, multiple roles where you have responsibilities towards different projects and toward different teams. I think that is a very important thing to recognize. It's also the only way to move forward at this moment. If we keep putting people in boxes, this is not going to contribute either to their career, and it's not going to contribute also to the agility of the organization. So this is something where a lot of organizations are struggling, like how do we do that? How do we actually unbox those roles, and how are we going to actually move forward with those? So this is pretty important also. If you look at the stats that we pull from the Pulse report, like I said, demographics are against us. Wherever we ask in Europe, are you going to have a shortage of workers to get the job done now or in the future? Next slide. The answer is yes. So in any country in Europe, which is important to understand, in any country in Europe, about 50 to 60% of the respondents in HR say that they are having a shortage problem or facing a shortage problem on the short term, which is the next slide, increasingly face a talent shortage. Think about this. So if we keep putting people in boxes, and we're going to try to find the ideal candidate that matches for 100% the box, it's not going to work. So we're going to have to negotiate with people and say, these are the roles that we have, which ones could you take? And can we be agile with that? Because in the end, looking at what you said before to that point, the ideal candidate that you're looking for, you might already have hired him or her. They might already be there. And thinking about labor migration, if we're moving and thinking that we're going to find those candidates in Europe, you better think again, because your peers in the surrounding countries have the same problem. So we're not going to find them. So this is all about thinking about internal mobility, about unboxing roles and making sure that people can contribute in different areas.
So goodbye the old job descriptions then, which are on a very detailed level sometimes, and hello more fluid.
Well, let's be honest, if I look at vacancies and job descriptions, I mean, what the responsibilities have that you have to be able to do, it's immense. So if you look in
it's a wish list.
It's a wish list. Then if you look at the competencies that you need to actually fulfill those responsibilities, you get tired of just reading it. And then you're not even down to the offer where they're going to tell you what you're going to get for this. So I think it's more important to say that we are an organization that does X. We are looking for people that contribute in dimensions X, Y, Z. If you think you can help us with that, reach out to us and we'll find a way. I think these are the new ways of doing that. If it's just a wish list, let's be honest, it's very frustrating also for candidates. So I think you're pushing away candidates beforehand just because they get tired of reading the vacancy.
I mean, I'm thinking especially girls, because we take it literally, and then boys will say, well, that's maybe I can fit 40% of this and I still will make it. So it's also a gender thing here.
It may very well be. I'm not saying it is, but it may very well be. And at the examples that I'm looking at, also at home with my eldest looking for a job, yes, she wants to tick the boxes, exactly. All of the boxes.
But that's a different seminar, of
That's
course.
A different seminar. We'll take that on next
We
time.
take that on next. I will now welcome Magnus into the field. From process focus to outcome led. What's the definition and pragmatic view on that, Magnus?
Pragmatic, Magnus.
This is a really big question. How do I scope that down?
Yeah, and in 1 minute also.
Yeah, that's hard. But I think we can go back to the previous slide that we showed discussing the transition when you go from service-oriented to strategic partner kind of. I mean, we're trying to work more with how did this performance, for example, for an employee, did it work out for this person? Did we reach the goals that we set up for this year? And it's not as interesting to look back and see how did we actually get there. So it's more important that you reach the goal rather than how you achieve it. And we have some numbers from the investigation, for example, how HR is kind of reshaping the functions and the operational model. So looking at Europe, we work with like 40%, which is quite high, I think. And we are a bit behind in Sweden. And this is very interesting. we had the numbers from, from the Menti question that we are quite equal in the meeting, but I don't think that it's for the whole Swedish companies. What do you think, Jan, about this?
No, I think that AI definitely. I think it's still very much overestimated. I think that AI is still reshaping HR functions. If you look at how AI can change or is changing recruitment processes here and there in organizations, it's basically taking over 50, 60 to 70% of the recruitment process. We're using AI. A lot of companies are using AI to screen the CVs. AI agents are taking over the first interview. We're looking at these examples, but they are ahead of the curve. So I think most of organizations are still observing and looking at what's actually happening. Those are the examples that make us dazzle and think about, oh, everybody's doing this. I don't think so. I think this is pretty accurate actually. 1 out of 3 says, yes, this is actually happening. It makes sense. It does make sense.
And let's just stop there. Is it mostly within the recruitment process, you think that AI is like big in HR right now?
You have 2 areas that's big. One is recruitment, of course, and the other one is learning. There's 2 areas where you can actually do a lot of things without risking anything. Then when it comes to other operational things in the HR functions, you need your data, your people data, to actually build something. And there's a bit more challenging in that area. So I would say learning and recruitment is the top ones right now.
They're the ones also that have been subject to automation in the first place, then digitization before, and now AI is just the next step forward in that process of making it even more technological driven.
Looking at you and looking to you online, do you see any other areas in your organizations where AI is really taking over? Should I say that? But at least being involved? Or do you agree with recruitment and learning? Look at here now also. But no one is really challenging that.
No.
Yeah.
I can add one where everybody may be interested in. It's something that's not a very big hot topic in Sweden, but if you think about how AI can actually help to close the gender pay gap, that would be interesting as well. If we look at big patterns, big data sets, how AI is going to help us there, I definitely think that there are some opportunities as well.
That one we have to just stay with 20 seconds. What do you mean?
What I mean is that if you have a big data set, if you are a company about 1,000 people, you got all sorts of salary splits and so on. How are we going to find out where actually pay gaps are? How are we going to close that gap? AI, the big thing with artificial intelligence is that can help us to find patterns, systematic patterns where there might be deviations, or help us to find what is generally true and what are the outliers, what are the people that have a different composition in their salary, why is that? So it definitely can help us to move forward to better understand how salaries are divided and split across the population in an organization.
So to make the analysis, basically.
The analysis, but even the recommendations. But even the recommendations.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good, and that we will need, I think.
Yeah. One final example from this slide that is kind of rising, and that's the employee handbook. I see a lot of examples when companies actually sharing the employee handbook in their intranet, for example, through a chatbot, things like that.
And that's the handbook is the Bible still, I would say, in HR organizations. I stay with you for another minute or two, Magnus. From transactional to transformational. Again, definition and in practice.
Yeah. The definition I was actually going to hand over to you, Jan.
Not according to script, but that's okay.
No. I think that we're back. We're always back to the same thing. We started up. Are we a service center? Are we a strategic partner? Transactional means that a lot of things in HR were and still are transactional. We handle absenteeism requests. We handle holiday requests. We handle this. The handling of all those things that need to be transacted. We're moving more and more towards transformational. Technology is going to help us with the transactional stuff. How are we helping the business with making the transitions to an AI first or an AI augmented workplace. How are we going to help them design the jobs of the future? That's the transformational part that we're looking for. So it's again from service to strategic. How are we going to transform the people side of the business? That's basically the question.
Yeah, and we have some numbers from the investigation, of course. So the organization is empowering me to take charge of my own career development. This is a kind of interesting topic. So when you work in a company and you feel that you own your own career, I mean, if you would ask your employees, do you own your career at our company? What do you think they would answer? Do you have implemented the tools that they need to actually do that? Like the one we discussed earlier, possibility to find new jobs within the organization. One very, very simple example is when you have a new hire, do you offer that internally first, or do you go straight out on the open market? That is one very simple question to ask. Do you do it or not? If you're not, then you're not working according to this idea.
Let's stop there and ask the physical audience. Do you go internally first when you have an open position? Raise your hands if you do. 35%.
Yeah. 1 out of 3,
so,
yeah.
So very, very close to the numbers. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. And I think that's a wonderful thing. I think employers who do have an internal job market are, in the forefront of this, because it also means that you trust the people you have hired, and that you would like to build on their skills and to keep the ones you have already hired. So I think it's a beneficial thing to have an active internal job market.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Did we have another example there, or
I think we
move to
on.
the fifth shift? And I keep you again. You can click. That's okay. From fragmented tools to integrated intelligence.
Yeah. There is a lot of things here when it comes to tech. You told me not to talk too much about tech.
Or at least to customize it to the audience.
But 4 out of 10 employers in Sweden, they say their HR technologies are highly integrated. But what does this actually mean? And I have this one to start kind of a discussion around it, because to get anything to work when it comes to AI or automation or whatever, then we need an HR system in the middle that can handle all the master data around people. Without that, we don't have anything. So that's the first thing you need. The second thing you need is to integrate this data that you have about your people, where they work, who is their manager, and so on. You need to integrate that and allow other tools within your ecosystem of systems that you actually use, like in benefit or workforce management, like scheduling people's work and so on. You need to integrate that so everything is managed through the HR system. And so that's the second thing. So this kind of shows you what integrated system means. One source of truth for all your employee data, and that data will be then shared with all the other systems. And with that, you automate basically everything around people information.
I would like to stay on this slide for a little while. My first question is, does this mean that if you have let's say you're a small company, you have your HR data in an Excel sheet, then this will be very hard to manage then, integration with other systems?
Yeah, but as you are into, companies tend to grow, and as you grow, you need different solutions. The first thing you would need, of course, is a bookkeeping, and then you need some way to pay out your salaries. Then you need something to track your people so you know who is sick, who is not sick, who is on vacation and not. And you have statistically different kind of steps like Maslow's stairs for companies, what you need and when. And that's why companies tend to address different markets with different products. This is a product for let's say from 0 up to 50 people, then you go from 50 to 200, and from 200 up to 1500 and so on. So we all target different groups of companies. So you can basically try to find an HR system when you're, like, let's say 50 people. I would recommend starting to look at when you're 50.
That's when you need an HR system,
Yeah.
when you're about 50
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
And then scale up.
And I think for many of you looking at this picture, for many of you online looking at this picture, I think I should maybe speak for myself, but I don't think so, that integration among systems, we're not there. I think we're so far from there. Would anyone like to disagree? Online or here? Do you agree that we are not our systems that we work with are not integrated? They do not talk with each other, and we cannot pick up data from. So when I say that, do you agree then, Magnus, that we are far from integration?
Yeah, I do agree.
And what does it take for us to be closer to an integration of our employee surveys with our master data system, with our payroll system, performance management?
Yeah, I come back to the start of this discussion. You need an HR system that is open and that can scale and that can integrate, that has open kind of integration possibilities. And it needs also to support legacy integrations, of course. So you can connect to systems that don't have the capability. But there is a lot of things that you see in this slide that you need to integrate if you want everything to work 100% with automation.
Can I add to that?
Yes.
Just from a user perspective in HR, but also as an employee. Of course, this is very much a tech story. And of course, we would like to integrate as much as possible and get it all right. In the meantime, we should not wait in offering services to our employees, because otherwise we'll be waiting until everybody tech is ready, and then we can only do something. I think that in the end, if employees can do a lot of stuff from their phone, like to do their banking, like to do their food ordering, it already makes sense. And if we can do scheduling from there, if we can do salary from there, that already makes a lot of sense. So it's not that this has to be all there before you can do anything. It needs to be a focus both. What do we need on the tech side to be scalable and to be sustainable? But we also have to offer services to our employees and to the HR and to the managers so that we can actually do our thing on a daily basis. And the one does not exclude the other. We can move forward, we can build interfaces for people, and in the meantime do the back end and do the integration of the tech. No?
Let's hope you are right. I can just say that. Because if there's one thing, at least I wish, is for the systems to speak to each other, and for me to click one or maybe two buttons to get the data I would like to get.
Yes.
And I ain't seen it yet.
Yeah, but for example, if you have an onboarding of a new employee, you want that employee onboarded in the HR tool, then automatically it should pop up and the user should be able to log into the workforce management solution, looking at their scheduling and so on, without any other kind of manual work. It should just function. And we have good examples of it, of course.
So we should all contact SD Worx after this session then.
What you said about the data is absolutely right. I think that a lot of people in HR are struggling with getting the data out and making sense of it in an integrated way. And that doesn't have to do with the legacy of technology, that tools were not always built. Tools that used data to calculate something, for instance payroll, were not necessarily built to exploit and use the data in another way.
Exactly.
So that is something that we are struggling with. We are moving forward with that, because now technology has also brought us cloud data warehousing and so on, so we can actually move forward with this.
Great.
Yeah.
I think you have another example.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
This one we can discuss later, and contact me if you'd like, but you need to make a decision if you want to build your own AI or if you want to go on and buy this open AI solution that you have available on the web. And I can give you some recommendations about that. So I think, should I go
That's
on?
okay.
Okay. And this is an example of an implemented AI, so you get some idea around what it actually does. This is an AI that can read receipts. So if you have employees reporting expenses, for example. This one reads receipts, and then it populates data out of the picture. And what we have done additional to that is that we have implemented an agent, which means that in the background, this agent is learning how we interact with the solution, and can then learn if it's, for example, is a receipt from a SL ticket, subway ticket, or a taxi receipt. And in the system, we don't actually know what to connect based on the picture. Then the system learns what actually to find and is correct and how to put it into the system. And it learns over time. So it's basically a self-learning solution which brings more intelligence over time to the system based on how we interact. So we're not using any data, we're just learning how people interact with the solution. And I think this is implementation that we will see over time. And this also goes along with what we call the autonomous business, which means that it's self-learning systems that actually can kind of develop themselves and become innovative over time without adding any new code. And this is super cool, I think.
And creates, of course, efficiency, which is what we all look for, right?
And an employee experience.
Great.
Yeah. Next door.
Yes, exactly. I don't know. We have our last number 6 shift, and I will then turn to you, Jan.
Yeah.
From generalist to specialist.
I think this is from generalist to specialist for a lot of roles in organizations. Also in HR, people were generalists. We talked about many things in HR, some were specialists. I think this is moving around a bit, and what it says here is that people are going to have to take both roles. So we're going to have to be good in being a very specialist in a certain topic, for instance, being a very big specialist in reward, and at the same time be generalistic enough. They call them T profiles, that's why I'm doing this. They call them T profiles, where they say you need to be both. You need to be able to understand the business, you need to understand HR in general, but you're going to have to be a specialist at some point. Also, when it comes to, for instance, AI, you're going to have to be a specialist in how AI is transforming your topic or your specialism. And that's a pretty important thing. Because also there, investing in reskilling and upskilling its employees to prepare for the AI-driven future, this is going to be one of the big things. So AI is not going to take over your job. Someone who uses AI will. But that means that you're going to have to be very clear about what your role is in HR, but also in other departments. What is my topic? Where am I really good at? Where can I challenge the AI when it helps me with large language models to understand what I do? And at the same time, do I have enough human skills, in broad sense, generalistic skills, to work together, to understand emotion, to influence, to motivate, and those things, to be human in the most essential way that you can. So this is something where I think we're moving towards. This is not entirely new. We've seen that very much happening over the last couple of 10 years already. But AI is ramping this up and is actually speeding this process up, so that we have to be very clear about what it is that we're good at and where we are generalists that can help out the business. In Holland, where I was last week, they are starting to talk about the M profiles, so people that have more than one specialism and actually can move broader into the organization, be more deployable in any sort of job. This is important for us as HR professionals. This is also important to bring to your colleagues in the legal department, in the finance department, in the operations. Everywhere, people are going to have to think about what is it that I essentially do, what is my specialism, and what are my generic skills to work together with other people, especially in the era of AI.
Thank you, Jan. As time just flies, we have our second mentee. And now we would like to ask you, let's switch to the other one because I've learned how to do that.
Yeah.
How do you think the role of HR will change in the coming 5 years? So we've mentioned 6 shifts that we see. What do you think the role of HR, how the role of HR will change in 5 years? You can say 3 years, but a bit future looking. So there will be a world, not a world, but a word cloud coming here. We will become more specialists. Yes, more strategic. That we realized on the
Less admin.
first topic. Less administration. More human, that one I like, because I think here is where our skills really make a difference. Our skill within how people behave, and I think not HR, but AI could never really take that away from us. The human side of things and the empathy around things.
Not in this generation, at least.
No, and let's enjoy that, because I like the human side of things.
Yeah, me too.
Less junior opportunities. Oh, I think that's so sad, so true. The one who wrote that, and so sad.
It's a very much a paradox, actually. So we've seen that this is the talk at the moment. So younger people have less opportunities, and we're looking for experienced people because how are you going to learn the job when the AI is doing the job? At the same time, we forget that these people are coming out of university and have been using AI.
Exactly.
So they can contribute to the organization because they have something that experienced people don't have. So also there, to the point where we talked about internal hiring, external hiring. Why don't you have a policy that says from all the hires that we do on a yearly basis, 30% has to be someone who's right out of school, because it just makes sense?
But yeah, because they also demand much more than people already employed in that organization.
Yeah.
And I think that's good. You know, we get the new energy and people from school with new skills and knowledge demanding things.
Yeah, and then we have an interesting strategic role again for HR to discuss this and to debate this and to advise this with the business to say, I know what you're looking for. It actually makes more sense to just hire someone that's right out of school.
I like this designing experiences.
Yeah.
I like that expression a lot. And it seems like many people also added this. Thank you for that, because I think we will be involved a lot more in designing the user experience for a new employee, for example. We have a lot of possibilities there. Focus on that instead of typing things in different IT systems, spending time on people, become your human, as you said. So, yeah.
So many interesting things popping up here and still popping up. However,
Faster,
we will need to leave this faster.
Yeah.
Was that your?
I think that was also a good one.
Yeah.
We need to be faster.
Especially when the new generation is coming out on the labor market. My kids are constantly saying it's like a slow motion when I type on my phone, and I think I'm really fast.
Yeah,
so.
I know the feeling. You're so much of a boomer, Dad.
All right, thank you so much for all your contributions. I'm asking this, and we have 2 minutes left. And usually when you say that, no one will have a question. So it was like a rhetorical thing. But we have time for one question. Is there anyone here in the audience who has any questions? Or I will also look online. Any reflection or any?
We usually get, will we keep our jobs in HR? That's a tricky one. I think so. But looking back on the mentee question, I think if we work towards that you actually shared, then we will keep our jobs. If we stay on the transactional side and we try to work more operational and just to support, then we will be replaced with AI, I think.
Yeah, but it's very likely that all of our jobs will be augmented with AI.
Yeah.
It's very likely.
Yeah.
And with that very positive last saying, we have 6 takeaways, and we will have to do those in 1 minute.
Yeah, I'll take those quickly then.
Good, and you can also press yourself.
You will have to do this. You will have to reimagine HR. We're going to have to think away from what we've been doing all the time and think we're going to do more of that or a little bit of other. No, we're going to have to rethink it as a function. Don't forget to involve IT. You're very dependent on their roadmap, but you also have an advisory function to make them think about employee experience. It's not only about the tech, it's also about the people. HR will become a strategic ally. That's at least my feeling, strategic partner ally. And ally means also that the business, IT, finance will come to you for advice. I think that should be the ambition. Start with exploring the data. Become more data-driven. One thing that we have to do, like we said, like Magnus said, the data are there. They're not always that easy to exploit. 4, make sure your employees are involved. Right? At least let's ask them also or be involved. And if we are integrating AI, explain them what the AI is doing. By the way, you have to, because the AI Act has been in effect since February 2nd of this year. Last but not least, most importantly, and it was also mentioned already on the work cloud, be human as HR. Let's try to be as much human as possible. Let's do what we do good, that is being human, and let's do the artificial intelligence do what it does best, be artificially intelligent.
I love that ending, be human. We should be more human.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Magnus. Thank you so much, Jan. Thank you so much for those of you who made it here to Kungsholmen. And for those of you visiting and listening in online. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.